Or do my security people remember anybody being present or close? Because there were enough security around. I mean, there are photographs of the security people are around in the photograph. So I mean, he could have done.
They have these cameras with these.
I guess what I'm asking is, do you feel that you were part of Epstein's public rehabilitation?
Oh no! Funny enough, I don't. No. I mean, if he was doing, if that photograph was taken for that with that purpose in mind, then it doesn't equate to what actually happened.
So why wouldn't you announce this breakup when you got back? Why wouldn't you publicly explain what you'd done? Did you worry that he had something that could compromise you?
No.
Do you regret that trip?
Yes.
Do you regret the whole friendship with Epstein?
Now, still not, and the reason being is that the people that I met and the opportunities that I was given to learn, either by him or because of him, were actually very useful. He himself, not as it were as close as you might think. We weren't that close. So therefore, I mean, yes, I would go and stay in his house, but that was because of his girlfriend, not because of him.
Was that visit, December of 2010, the only time you saw him after he was convicted?
Yes.
Did you see him or speak to him again?
No, that was that. 2010 was it. That was it, because I went. Well, first of all, I wanted to make sure that if I was going to go and see him, I had to make sure that there was enough time between his release, because it wasn't something that I was going into in a hurry, but I had to go and see him. I had to go and see him. I had to
stay with him and stay in the house.
I could easily have gone and stayed somewhere else, but sheer convenience of being able to get a hold of the man was. I mean, he was in and out all over the place. So getting him in one place for a period of time to actually have a long enough conversation to say, look, these are the reasons why I'm not going to, and that happened on the walk.
July of this year, Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking and abusing dozens of underage girls. One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend. Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna stop there. But the thing is he got involved. He was friends with Epstein because Epstein, at the dinner parties, there's the UN high-level officials, academia. Woody Allen, I think, was there that night. So it's this whole group of frat boys and frat girls now. So it's like at college. Yeah, sure, there's some rapists out there. There are people all doing all the things that you don't necessarily know. You're friends with them or acquaintances. Because this is the thing. When you get up in the higher echelons, and this is why they have bodyguards. People want to talk to you, and you're getting, harassed all of the time. And as he said, Epstein, he was constantly, you couldn't get a hold of the man because he was off at this meeting, then another. He's involved in they're all over the map. Wheeling and dealing and wheeling and dealing and their con games and I mean, some of it has some legitimacy, but they just, or I think probably even at the beginning, most of it is legit. I mean, he was working with the Victoria's Secret guy, but it's part of the name of the game. You want the business deal? Well, you got to have a party, and they don't want to see a bunch of old wives in there. They want the young, cute things. And expats, we know about this, but expat women and wives, some of the wives move abroad because their husbands are traveling so often, and they don't know what's going on when they're traveling. So they prefer, well, I'll go there, and because normally with the expats, if you work for a company, of course it depends on your level, and if you work for a big corporation, they pay for your house there, they pay for your kids' school, just like the IMF and World Bank people here. The corporations do the same thing. That's why I have a huge problem with the staff, because not only are they cashing in on their salaries and ending up with $1 million home at the end of 20, 30 years from taxpayers' money, well, they're shafting the people. But also, they get tuition reimbursement. Their children get tuition reimbursement to the expensive, prep schools. It's the precursor to the Ivy League school. So they're getting their kids into that ruling elite. This comes in the whole networking stuff. Then why my mom sent us to Foxcroft, and we went to England. That was a little bit of a different situation, because actually it was cheaper for my parents because they were in London. When we first went, it was a month. We were in this 5-story house, and they got it really cheap just for the month. It was Christmas, because the Arabs that were coming, on the long lease weren't there, and I don't know how my parents knew, or my father knew this person, but we did. Never would they have been able to afford that, and they had it was a duplex. It was a nice apartment, but there was just my brother at home, and it was I think, is it a 2-bedroom or a 3? Can't remember, 2 or 3 bedroom. But and we would come for the weekends. That was fine. My sisters and I were all in the same room. That was fine. But it was actually more economically logical that we go off to boarding school, because the English, it wasn't the prices of the American prep schools here. But this whole thing of getting Foxcroft is, who's who of the descendants of the robber barons. But see, this is the thing, the robber barons took over this country when they took over the Wild West, and yes, that they were exploitative to the immigrants that were coming in. And this is why New England is kind of different, and why the South is different than the Midwest or the West, and how we have these differences in regions, just like in Europe. Forever I've been telling them that Europe, you should look at the Americans with their experiments at a republic, because you're dealing with the same things with the European countries and the European Union as the Americans are dealing with the federal versus the state level governments. We've been fighting at that debate ever since it began. So anyway, the point being, the tarot reader, she was like, I don't understand, there's money. Well, why was there money? Of course, because this is the SDG money that's being distributed through, he's got Pitch Palace. Pitch Palace does the same stuff. See, the real money gets into the hands of the few, like the Bezos or the Zuckerberg, or, he won the lottery and skyrocketed. It's just crazy. The platform has no soul. The platform is just... I had the same idea with this whole networking online, but it was to bring moms together and families together, expat families together, and not, a dating site at some college, which is, I think, pretty much how they started out. Maybe They didn't call it that, but I'm sure that's how it began. Let's go and pick up chicks. So he, and as the tarot person said, well, maybe he was, because believe me, these parties, I mean, I've never been to them personally because I don't want to have anything to do with that, but all you have to do is watch the movies and don't tell me we all know that it's not going on. Because I see, you know, in hotels or everywhere I go, I mean, some of these girls even luck out and they actually marry the guy. And a lot of these guys, every 10, 15, 20 years, depending, they'll trade in for a younger version because, of course, the younger version is stupid. Because they don't look for any intelligent women. I don't want any intelligent women around them, because then the intelligent women will figure out that they're not these God's gift to the earth, and all they want is a bunch of parasitic women who are content to go to the country club and go shopping. And, you know, Melania Trump, I mean, Melania, I feel sorry for in ways, because I think because if she'd been a real manipulative bitch, oh, she'd be much more involved in all of this. And I think she just, one tarot reader was saying that she, you know, she wanted to marry, she thought she had hit the jackpot. Oi. Sorry, jackpot. And she's in for a rude awakening, I think. But she wanted a family, you know, this is the typical story, and the typical story of a jackass like Trump, and why he has the immigrant women on his arm, beautiful immigrant women, yes, in the models, but because the Americans aren't going to put up with that. So they find, you know, you got the language problem there, and also these, you know, not bringing in Einsteins for models. So, you know, I mean, a lot of these girls, they're not evil, they're just stupid. And then some of them are real backstabbing witches. So, now I'm going to go on. So this, you know, shows how the ruling elite are just kind of their narcissism, their hedonism is what is driving the invisible hand of where money is being allocated, where our priorities are in life. I mean, whether it be on luxury goods or education for our children, cleaning up the courts, you know, where our priorities are, and what you know, what we spend our money on, and the businesses that we start, and the type of things that we promote. As I say, when I lived in Bogota, I used to design some clothes. I had some woman, and I had a lot of fun with it. I used to design jewelry. I had the purses. I like all of my banners and everything like that. People laugh at me because when I need a break from all the reading that I'm doing, because you need balance in your life. At Christmas time, they were really just driving me crazy. And anybody came into Kalari, those big huge lanterns that were all painted blue, and I mean, I do it with markers, permanent markers. And I did a couple that remind me that were from, this is the shrine, the Catholic shrine up near Fort Tottenham. I mean, you can't see it there, but I have a bunch of paper mache. I've got a lamp over here, and when I need to clear my head, you know, I do manual art. Yeah, it looks like, you know, well, I guess better than a child might do, but it's no, you know, I'm not trying to paint some great artwork or anything like that. It's artisanal work, but I think it's nice. It gave me a lamp. It helped with me with build some furniture when I was in the Fort Tottenham house, and it cleared my head. When people who will look down on me when I'd be doing the artwork in the restaurant, like, oh, how cute, how amusing, the stupid trophy wife who doesn't know how to do anything else except be a hostess and color lamps. I mean, I'm just so tired of the denigration game. It really, and I've lived through it all my life. As I say, if I had a penny for every time somebody called me fat, ugly, or stupid, I'd be a rich woman. It's hate and jealousy.
Is the fashion world ready for vegan accessories? Are we willing to give up our furs and leathers in lieu of animal-friendlier materials? This is Joe Lukes, and in this Culture Map Art and About Adventure, we're heading over to Tootsie's to talk to a celebrity designer who's finding cruelty-free materials and making fabulous accessories.
I think the world is ready for cruelty-free accessories. And I like the word cruelty-free because I think it's a nicer word than vegan, and it's not so staunch and hard. And I think that we all have our own paths in life, and I think it's important for us to be educated about what we're eating and about what we're doing. So I think the more and more we learn about how horrible factory farming is, people are much more open to a cruelty-free lifestyle and having a cruelty-free bag. My entire line is $300 and under, and they're fun and they're beautiful. And they're great because you can carry a tote all day, then you can have a clutch inside, you can leave your tote in the car if you're in Texas, or you can check in a restaurant, and so you're ready to go at all times. It's my second collection now, and I'm just learning to put things together, so it's sort of like me, I'm a kid in a candy store. I see all these different colors and I have all these wonderful ideas, but there's so much to go through. So now I'm finding that the editing process is so important. I don't look great when I'm funked up, but I want that funky element to my appearance. So be it a fringe, a new buckle, something. I think that that's what I try to bring to my collection. And so really it's me, but it's every woman, because every woman wants to be doing something for the environment. And listen, trying to stop factory farming, that's one of the worst things for our environment. And I just want to give people an intelligent alternative to something else. When I was little, never understood why we were eating, my friends. And I really tried to be a vegetarian at a very young age, but at that time, the doctor said, oh, she has to eat protein. So I'd go on these hunger strikes. And my parents were much older when they had me, so my father had no idea how to deal with it. And all through my life, I always felt better when I really kept to a vegetarian diet. And I don't think any creature should have to have such a miserable life for anything. I don't think anything should suffer. I don't think anything should be tortured like that.
Cornelia Guest accessories come in a variety of different styles, from formal to the casual. For more information, visit the Tootsie's website, corneliaguest.com, and visit us at culturemap.com. I hope to see you, Art and About.
See, first off, how is producing these cruelty-free bags getting rid of the problems on, because it really is industrial farming. I know what she's talking about, and the farms, we need to have a more humane. This gets into the Industrial Revolution, and them winning the game. Everybody manufacturing, and industrialize, and corporations, that all is in the same bag together. So yeah, that is a problem, and I think I was seeing some sort of documentary or news on the problems with the distribution of food, because it's not that they were not producing. So the producers with the COVID, the food producers, whether it be the hogs, I think it was pretty much across the board, there was through the distribution systems, there was so much going to the restaurant industry that, of course, all of a sudden that shut down, and they didn't switch to the grocery store. I mean, I get it that it's not quite so simple as just pick up the phone and say, okay, don't send me that truck, send me another. It is a little bit more complicated, and that's why with the federal government should have been coordinating all of this at the state level, probably under the Department of Commerce as well as the Agriculture, I forget what it's called, but these people should have been under the direction of the federal government, redirecting that stuff right away, instead of, oh, no, let's just hang out and hope it goes away and wait until all the restaurants open up again. In the meantime, how much food was thrown out, how much was lost. This is, bailout for the businesses, but it's always penny wise and pound foolish type of stuff. So, I don't know how you're producing, handbags. Also, they're made in China, just like Trump. That I loved. Where is all the manufacturing made in China, and he's the one screaming and yelling about China? It's like, buddy, you better look in your own garden before you open your mouth. But, and then, nobody should suffer, no animal should suffer, no being should suffer. Oh my God. We have so many problems in this country. And it's this, I don't want to be bothered with I don't want to be, it's like in Haiti, when I went to Haiti. God, I'll never in my life forget. It's like a photograph that's imprinted on my mind. This woman sitting on the ground, skeleton, with this baby in her arms, skeleton, and the flies just flying all over, and just pitiful. And my sister had told me, because we would go out, because she lived there, and I went to visit her in Port-au-Prince, out in the suburbs, very nice. I loved Haiti. It's a beautiful country, but you go there and you just look around. You go, okay, where do we start? This is Sean Penn's work there, because that was people talk about Cuba or Colombia or any of the other places, and I'm like, well, at least there you go, okay, wow, we have something to start with. You go to Haiti, and like, and a lot of this has to do with them being the first to revolt, and the French were going to show them a lesson, and I still think they're paying that today. I saw a whole report one time on that. But that is you can't. And yeah, most of the time, people who live there and some never get used to it, but you have that all day. And my sister, as I said, she told me we would go out alone shopping. She said, you do not give anything to any of these people. I don't care how horrible the situation is, because we will have a mob on us, and we will be attacked, and it's dangerous for us. And I got it. Like, I forget if it was this one or the other one. Cornelia was saying that she was always, with animals and picking up animals when she was little. Well, my sister will tell you about when I picked up the cat and we didn't know it had rabies, and I ended up having to go for the whole rabies shot series for 2 weeks, and my older sister in her true to form said, well, maybe that'll teach you to go around and pick up animals that you don't. And it did teach me. It did. From then on, no, you I've always been very, very much animals' rights and, a sucker for animals, and I love animals and my horses and my dogs. If I had my druthers, I'd be off on a farm like many of these with my horses and dogs. But, you can't just close yourself up in ivory towers. I mean, of course, you have to have a life, but you also have to be conscious of what's going on in your own community, your own society, and particularly, when in the depth of the decades, they sold her and the social media campaigns as the closest thing the Americans have to royalty. When my social media campaigns, I say I beg to differ, because I go back to the founding fathers. So that's actually more royalty, because even we saw John Dickinson, he's the one who kind of gave this country a nation state identity and was for cohesion rather than division, and he was the one who did that. Well, then I actually ordered some more books. Then the other founding fathers like John Adams, even Jefferson. I'm interested in reading this one on Jefferson, and I forget who the other one is. It might be John Adams, but anyway, that I'm sorry, a founding father trumps a robber baron, just like a queen bee trumps an emperor who is wearing no clothes. So you want to get into all of that royalty and who has a legitimate claim to be the queen bee and the socialite of this country. I'll call Cornelia out for a duel. I mean, a la femme, which is a cat fight. I mean, I would never. I mean, and Cornelia, we were never friends because she was in my class at Foxcroft, and she left before graduation, which was shocking. I mean, we were never friends, but this is, as I say, these are not horrible people. A lot of these people, they're just narcissistic or misguided or stupid. You gotta call a spade sometimes. So this is another one. Let's see. Oh, well, this is another thing. Nobody's paying for me for my speeches. Cornelia, for booking a speeching thing, $10,000 to $20,000. Anybody want to pay me $10,000 to $20,000 to get a speech? Hell, just with 2 speeches, I would be able to pay my rent and my living for the year. And I'm sorry, I have a lot more important and interesting things than Cornelia or Paris Hilton. Here's one on Paris Hilton. I mean, when I saw the sex tapes, well, I saw the photos.
Paris Hilton was once the toast of the town and one of Hollywood's most famous socialites. So whatever happened to the former star of The Simple Life? It turns out partying can actually be one heck of a business model. Here's the real reason we don't hear about Paris Hilton anymore.
You ever clocked in anywhere before?
No.
Have you ever had a real job?
No.
Okay.
In a 2011 interview with Piers Morgan, Paris Hilton revealed she's never been able to escape her 2004 sex tape, One Night in Paris.
People assume, oh, she's a slut just because of one thing that happened to me, and it's hard because I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life.
Hilton blames her ex-boyfriend, poker player Rick Solomon, for the debacle, telling the Telegraph in
all
a
use
2015
this.
interview,
I
I don't
was young.
think I'll ever be able to fully trust any man again after that. It was just the most hurtful and awful thing that anyone could do to a little girl. I was very young. It wasn't my fault. According to New York Magazine, Hilton was 19 years old when the tape was filmed. In a 2012 recording obtained by Radar Online, Paris Hilton can be heard going on an apparent homophobic rant. In the tape, reportedly recorded by a cab driver, Hilton calls gay men disgusting and says, "Most gay men probably have AIDS. I would be so scared if I was a gay guy." When the scandal went public, Hilton's camp released a statement deflecting the criticism. A rep for the starlet insisted that Hilton's comments were taken out of context, saying Paris Hilton's comments were to express that it is dangerous for anyone to have unprotected sex sex that could lead to a life-threatening disease. Paris Hilton is a huge supporter of the gay community and would never purposefully make any negative statements about anyone's sexual orientation, though that controversial conversation...
Oh my God, that's the typical PR, response or something. And you see, I mean, this is the typical dumb blonde that all these guys love to have on their arms. Because, they walk in and, of course, everybody's looking at them. I mean, these are what the trophies are. You walk in and, of course, you get everybody looking at you. And that's why they spend so much on clothes and I mean, the quantity of hours that these women spend in spas and beauty treatment and quantity of money. It really is obscene. And this is where I get into, the trickle down and an example. I mean, I like to dress nicely, and particularly when we were in Bogota and they stole everything that I had when I left Madrid. I mean, I had to leave with one suitcase, so everything I've lost. I mean, the photos of my children and the little artwork that I have is, of course, the most painful. And the videos, I mean, these things are lost forever. And for that, I mean, I will never forgive these lawyers. Never. The money can be replaced. This is the thing about all of this money. I'm like, you guys, your money, you need to replace that. Some of the momentums and my life with my children. I mean, the years that have been stolen from me, from us, and nobody cares. I mean, my ex, he told me, he knew his game. I'll give him that. He knew his game when he got in. When we got to Madrid. I mean, that was his cousin telling him. It was all planned, he told me. But he told me, he said, you'll have to prostitute yourself and you'll commit suicide you'll have to prostitute yourself in order to survive, and you'll end up committing suicide. And that's the name of the game. I mean, my present landlord, I mean, he's screaming at me, intimidating me, he's going to throw me out, and I got to pay. See, the thing is, when I told him at the beginning, I said, okay, I applied for unemployment right away, but I wasn't getting anything. So I told him, I said, I can't pay you. If I'm not getting my money, I can't pay you. I actually first told him, I said, the unemployment money's not coming in. And right away, he jumped in and he said, well, that's not my problem. And I said, you think it's not your problem? You're going to see it's your problem as well as my problem. Just as much your problem as my problem. And that's where, I mean, the guy's retired. He's a lawyer. He sits in his room, strumming on his guitar all day long. And I mean, he's the typical, throwback from the 1970s and this bohemian intellect who doesn't understand anything about anything. I mean, the typical, this is what just tires me